Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to solve a problem using the seal bids method. So in my problem I solved it out in 5 different steps. So the question is, Al and Peggy are getting divorced. The only item of real value is their house. They use the seal bids method to determine who will get the house. They each submit bids without the other knowing what the other bid is. Find the final allocation. So, based on that alone, Al, his bid is $340,000 worth. Peggy is $364,000 of what she thinks it's worth. So based on that alone, Peggy should get the house. So the question becomes, how much does she have to pay Al? So because there's 2 people, each is gonna get half. They are entitled to half of what they think it is worth. Which brings us to step 2 in this. Each gets their fair share, which is half of their bid. So, in this case, half of Al's bid of $340,000 is $170,000. Half of Peggy's $364,000 is $182,000. So, what we're gonna do is put Peggy right here. We're gonna put her inside of a holding box. So inside we're gonna put in $364,000 because that's how much she bid for the house. Then, right here, we're going to take out what each gets for their fair share. So in this case, their fair share was half of their bids. So $170,000 for Al, $182,000 for Peggy. Right there. With that, we're going to subtract it. I did the math. I'm using my phone to record, so I have no calculator. 170,000, or 182,000 minus 170,000 comes out to be 12,000. Now, that gives you that 12,000, which is the surplus. The surplus is the amount that's left over after everyone gets their fair share. So now, since there's 2 of them, each is going to get half of their surplus, which brings us to step 4. Half of the surplus of 12,000 is going to be 6,000. So altogether, Al is going to be, which brings us right here to step 5 immediately. So altogether, Al is going to get 2 fair shares. He's getting his fair share of the bid, which is $170,000, and share of the surplus, which is $6,000. Which is equal to and going to come out to $176,000 altogether. Peggy, first of all, is getting the house. But before that, she has to pay $364,000 in return, which is that negative $364,000. She has to pay that to get the house for her because that's her bid, But she also gets her fair share of the surplus, and she gets in return half of her bid. $6,000, half of her bid. That's the surplus that she gets as well. So notice that the exact same amount, when you do this math here, the house minus the 364 plus 182 plus $6,000, she does end up getting the house, and she gets negative $176,000. So, like I was saying, notice she gets exactly $176,000, which is exactly what Alice came out to, because she needs to pay out Al $176,000.